Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Shaking everything as I'm waving. Well, I just sent out my Sunday blog on gratitude, on how I gratitude. Just like, oh, my speech doesn't always work the way I want it to work. Oh my goodness. So, um, but anyways, had a few thoughts today. Well, I had a few thoughts where I had a weird dream and about a weird dream. Anyways, it was about death and dying and people who have been dying, and it was just really a bizarre dream, and it kind of had me thinking. And then I went off on a little tangent with my blog this morning on something else, but it just sort of sat there and was there. Now, being a medium and with death is part of life. Life is part of death, right? It is there. But what I've noticed, and I'd be curious to find out if other mediums have noticed this as well, is and one of the people that sort of was in the dream, which was kind of weird because I don't know the person. Personally, I've never met the person, and I'm not, hey, Lexi, I'm not a person who watched Friends a lot. Like, I watched it, but it wasn't one of the programs that, "Ooh, I gotta go sit and watch Friends," kinda thing. Um, but it was the young m young man who died recently, in his hot tub, and it was found that he was, even though he said he was clean and everything, he wasn't. He was taking the, that tranquilizer drug. Anyways, um, so I thought it was weird that I had a dream. Matthew, yes. I can never get into that show. Not sure why. Matthew, yes, that young man. And so, anyways, I'm just like, okay, well, like, once this weird things like this happen, and I'm like, okay, well, why? And it's like I got that he didn't know he was actually dead. It was such a high. It was such where in the death, even though there was a transition, there wasn't a transition. It was really weird. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I thought started to think, well, what about all of these deaths that are happening in the world at this time? Like, the death rate is extremely high. And although they're not talking about it, the powers that be, they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to scare people because of how many people are dying. Um, and a lot of times they don't want to give you the reason of why they're dying, whether they're overdoses or because of the elixir and because of effects from the elixir, because it has a lot to do with that spike that's in there that has your body trying to fight everything off. And okay, I got to get, like, with all of this going on, there's a lot of souls that I am feeling that are unable to transition. Now, will they transition? They might, some, it's like if you've ever been to England and the plague, the Black Plague, where people they just died. Like, even here in Calgary, when the people got typhoid, and one moment, one person at one end of the house would have it, and by the end, everybody in the house would be dead. It just rapidly descended upon people. And when there's a rapidness within, it's like, especially when it has to, I'm going to go back to the drugs, especially when it has to do with drugs. you're in an altered state of reality. You're in an altered state of being in this realm. And when you're in an altered state sometimes and something suddenly happens to you, you can end up staying in that altered state in a weird, bizarre way. It's hard to explain. But they're there. And I feel like that's why with him coming through to my dreams, which was weird because I don't even watch the show. I don't even have like he wasn't even like he wouldn't be a person that I'd say, "Oh, look at him," like kind of thing. Like if he walked past me, I would not have known who the hell he was, kind of thing. Um, coming to me and just letting me know that this is going on. So I'm wondering if others, he's gone to others as well. And it's one of those pieces in our world right now, and I think it's happened in different times, and I'm going back to the Black Plague when people, um, different different, um, different energy, different, um, people's enlightenment in the whole bit, and for him going back to him, for him, I feel like it was where, oh, is there more coffee? Okay. For him, I feel it was, when everything was going on or when he was getting into that state and then finally demised because he couldn't get up because you're so heavy you can't get up, you can't stand up, like your body's heavy and limp and you go into that state of whatever it is within that high. And that's why you find people sort of lumped over, like they're like this, and then zombie state is because they can't move. Like they just, you know, it's horrible to see. So reason why I'm telling you all this is that there is a lot of souls that are still walking, I feel, in this on this earth plane that haven't transcended, hasn't have not moved on to the other plane. And I feel like, one of the prayers that I say, may the souls of the faithful departed at the mercy of God rest in peace, amen. I feel like we have to start praying for the souls, the repose of the souls. And the reason being is because there are so many that haven't been able to transition and transition to however they need to transition to the other side. And it's where somebody who myself was a medium. But Mateus. Oh, okay. Um whatever the within that transitioning is, I think we have to start praying for the souls of the faithful. And really start sending them over because a lot of them are lost and are kind of wandering. And I think for many, they need to find that peace. Now, will all of them go? No, no. Some will be those lost souls. Unfortunately, that's what happens. And as a medium, that's why when you do ghost hunts and you do ghosts and you find people that are in houses or places or in different areas, they're kind of like lost souls. Some of them are lost souls. Some of them are in a loop. Mateus, can you let her out, please? Um, they're stuck in some way, and in getting them out, it's just that won't happen. I know many psychics and stuff will say, "Oh yeah, we can do that. We can do that," and I'm like, no, you can't. If you could do that, then how come England and other places, or even when you go to other sacred grounds, or if you go to a site where there's been multiple deaths, like when they do those reenactments down in the southern United States, which is really bizarre to me, but anyways, do a reenactment where all those souls died. I mean, their energy is still there. That energy is still there, right? um And even in different places, like even if you go to Italy, Italy's different though. Italy has a really weirdness to it, energetically. Now, I haven't been to these places, but I can just sort of, my energy can sort of feel the vibration or feel those vibrations. Has a, a different feel to it than per se, England. England's just, or even if you go into Ireland and Scotland, it's amazing how you could sort of feel the death a lot more there than you can in other European countries. Germany, there's parts of Germany, yes, and the battlefields, yes, and yeah, you get a lot of souls that are there, right? Um, which is interesting. But I feel now in today's age, because of this so much drugs, right? Um, because of so much drugs, and people are wanting to escape this reality in some way, somewhere, some form. Thank you, Derek. That that they're not transitioning. They're not transitioning, and that's a difficult one. And I think, as a medium, you want to tell the parents, you want to tell the people and their loved ones, yeah, oh yeah, they're fine. Most of the time they are, like, definitely they are. Sometimes, what, when it's coming to many, that, I think a lot of mediums are going to have a hard time if they are being honest with themselves and being honest with the energies that are coming forth. And the reason why they're going to have a hard time is because they were never taught. They were never taught about the repose of the souls. They were not taught about transitioning and that not all souls go to heaven. They weren't taught about how sometimes people get stuck. Even though, yes, God is loving and light, but there is still a choice, an ego choice that comes in, or if that ego's not there and it's dampened by something, whether it's drugs, disease, fear, in understanding that. And for the majority, I'm going to say yes, for the majority, yes. They do. Some, I'm going to say, what I think stepping into, as we go further on into this year and into next year, and with the amount of drug overdoses that are happening even more so. I mean, the opiate crisis is still a crisis that nobody talks about, but there is a new crisis with a new drug, and that's really altering people's reality, mind, and spirit. And in many ways, when I see something like that, also I feel there's because there's another agenda to it, on having them not being able to transition fully. There's something else that's there, and that's just my own feeling. But when I felt his presence coming to me, and especially, it was just really bizarre because it was just like, who are you? Why are you coming to see me? In letting me know that and getting that message out. So I ask of you to, in your thoughts and in your prayers, to just pray for those who've passed, even though you don't know them. Pray for the souls and allowing for them to be able to transition. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, you know, um, do a whole ceremony or anything like that. But sometimes if you are out in nature and you're just, get a moment, I just taking that moment and asking for those souls um to transition. Mm, made me a little weepy in saying that. I could feel the emotion that comes up through that. It's very strong. It's very strong. Through that, with that. So yeah, and with I think also with so much that's coming up about the horrible things that are happening within human trafficking and along that line, and how much is getting lost in that. So much, because there's so many. I mean, our world's never had so many people upon it. So many souls want it to come, you know, come to earth. Like, this is like, to, and I think a lot have come to earth, like their souls have come to earth to really counteract a lot of the negativity, the evil that has transpired within our world. Some have not been able to do it, or have gotten lost in some way. And for those of us who are the light workers that are here, need to take some time and ask for the divine, ask for God, whatever God that you believe in. To me, God is this beautiful faceted crystal, and it's how you turn it is how you envision him. Same with the goddess, and how you turn it. That's why there's so many aspects of God and so many aspects of the divine goddess. It's how we envision, or the ones that, or the light that attracts us, right? And but they all come from the same source. As my mother said, the same cloud. It's just the little tufts that you decide to embrace on, right? So, giving them up to the Holy Spirit and asking for an inner peace and a miracle is one way. Pray for the souls of the faithful departed in the mercy of God, and may all souls go to heaven, especially those in most need of your mercy. Um, that's another prayer. Those are all old prayers that I've been taught, but they're very powerful prayers. You can make up your own prayer, and find your own prayer to give these beautiful souls up to the Holy Spirit, so that they can transition. But I feel there's a need, and I thought I'd come, not to dampen your Sunday, but just to have you have aware that you might be feeling a little bit more of the presence of those who've gone, more so than you have before. And I think for those who are mediums, really have to take into consideration that, not everyone or everything is going to transition the way that they would like them to see, um, in that way. So, majority, as I said, do. So when, the majority of people that come to me, that, to see their loved ones, do see it, um, do see them in a very beautiful way. And I think that really makes them, helps people to deal with the grieving process, and to deal with that grief of their loved one who has passed away. But, if somebody came to me and the person was, like with Matthew, it'd be like, wow, man, I still feel like he's still in that house. His energy still, his presence is still in that house very strongly. Um, and just trying to try doesn't, and then just goes back in, like there's that water. I guess he died in a hot tub. Um, that's there too. So it's very interesting. It's just weird. But anyways, praying for his soul, and praying for him to go up to the Holy Spirit and find that peace that he needs, so he can transition and move forward on the other side into the next phase, what he needs to do on his journey, or on his soul's journey needs to do. So, pretty crazy. I know, crazy things that happen in my head, and the dreams that I have. So, on that note, I do have level 1 Reiki coming up next weekend, and I'm looking very forward to doing it. It is one that I feel that really helps. I mean, that's another one that really helps, not only for yourself in the healing of what you need to heal, but also helping you to, um, heal others. I found it very interesting with Dr. Usuri when they did a lot of, they used to have Reiki hospitals before World War II in Japan. And those hospitals would be like, you'd go to that energetic hospital first, then you would go to the actual hospital. So let's say you were, you had to, had an operation and you're going in on June 20th for the operation. It was scheduled, right? Before you go to that, you would actually a couple weeks beforehand, you would enter into the energetic hospital, the Reiki hospital, and they would perform Reiki on you at least 3 times a day. Like just, just the thought of that is just like, oh my God. And then when you got to the hospital, that you would be prepared, your body's prepared. Um, there was a woman called Julie Maltz, I think it was, and she was a part of a study in the United States. And the study was to how people, how energy worked with people and doing energy healing. Now she was allowed to go into the operating rooms with different when people were going through operations. Now she was in pre and post op. And what she discovered is, like, when doing the energy healing with people, prepared them to be, for the operation, for whatever operation. She was even in some when they were doing transplants, and when people are getting a new heart or new liver and stuff. And she could see the energetic energy from the old heart, which was no longer working, to a new heart that was coming in from the person who just passed away, and they were able to donate their heart to that person. And in donating that heart, she could see that in doing the energy healing on the new heart, was letting them know that you're going to live on, but you're going into this new place. And it was almost like between the old heart and the new heart, sort of like kind of like passing, and being able to allow them to energetically understand that they're going on another journey. It was just absolutely fabulous, the work that she did. um, and she actually worked with Dr. Oz. And Dr. Oz's wife is a master Reiki, um, a Reiki master. And so he was one of the ones, and he worked a lot with the heart, and he is a heart doctor. And he was in doing a lot of the in allowing her to come into a lot of his um, operations and stuff like that. He allowed that. And of course, she had to sign a waiver and everything. And then she would do the post op with the person afterwards. And the way that the people were accepting of the drugs and stuff that they had to take, um, everything worked a lot easier. The transition for the people were a lot easier. The healing was faster. Sometimes they found that even in doing pre energetic healings, that the surgery could be postponed even longer, which is absolutely great. I mean, when you can do that instead of having something that's very invasive, um, having a transplant or something along that line, or having some form of operation is very invasive to the body, right? Because the body's, unless you prepare the body, um, it's sort of like what's going on. And that's why some people go into shock. That's why you have excessive bleeding and things along that line, because the body's just like, what the hell's going on, even though they're in, they've put them to sleep and everything, anesthetic and things. But her studies were just absolutely phenomenal. She even did, later on, and she ended up doing a lot of work with women with breast cancer, and finding a lot of correlations with women with breast cancer and stuff. But having that energetic healing, or having that energy healing, they found that how people reciprocate it, how people heal, is faster. They even in doing prayer, and people praying for others, and found that if they had, on certain wards, they would have a place where people could go pray for others and stuff. How that ward, they found the healing process faster. And the thing is that the people who were praying weren't even in the room with the patient or anything like that. Just totally remarkable. Energy is remarkable. The things that you can do with energy is fantastic. And that's why I say, in praying for the souls, of those who are still wandering is so important, because your energy is strong. Your thoughts, the way that you think, the way that you enter into a room, the way that you um, present yourself is all energy, right? And how people perceive you, it's the energy. And so, in doing um, Reiki and learning Reiki, I find it really helps people, especially just getting your level one, right? I will be doing level two and masters, but in getting your level one, just opening the door, I feel is important for people. If you can open that door and turn that light switch on, then you're able to see a lot more of what's happening. You're able to not stumble over the chair that you keep stumbling over, and you're able to understand that, okay, this isn't my energy, this is somebody else's energy. And you can use your Reiki on yourself, on your plants, on your animals, is so important. So it can do so much to help others, and help those around you. And even you can use your Reiki in um, helping those souls, sending them that healing light and love so that they can transition, which is a very important piece at this time. And I feel like you're going to be feeling it a lot more, because as things become more intense in the world around us, as the rates go higher in the world around us, we are going to be needing that light work and that anchoring even more so than we've ever had before. And standing in that love and that light is going to be so important. So I'm going to send you guys out with so much love today. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all you do. Have a beautiful day, and may the divine Lord and Lady watch over you always, and shine your light. Don't be afraid to shine your light, okay? Because you guys are all beautiful souls. So blessed be everybody, and enjoy the day. All right? Bye-bye.